Hi there. Welcome back to the Obsidian Mirror podcast. My name is Cynthia, and as you can see here for this latest installment for the lunar phase scrying session, I've gone to ink blots to scry today. I'm not using the Obsidian Mirror. I've really been enjoying using these ink blots, and I thought I would also take the opportunity to feature a couple of things that I have that I cherish that I feel are nice to share. The first is this beautiful Hermes scarf. If you know anything about fashion, Hermes scarves are collectible, like artworks, and this is the only one I have, but I feel very fortunate to have it. I purchased it for myself as a way to sort of nurture and soothe the part of me that loves beautiful things. The title of this scarf is a French title. I should have looked ahead of the scrying session to remember it, but it loosely translates to a roll in the hay. So it's romantic in nature, and it has these two doves, and then as you can see here, kind of they're perched on this rose bush with these beautiful butterflies. And in fact, let me just do this for a second so you can see it, because I think it's so beautiful. This one is a blend of cashmere or lamb's wool, I can't remember, and silk, but it's very beautiful. I wear it periodically every so often, but what I find happens when I wear it is that it outshines the rest of my wardrobe, and the rest of my wardrobe is a little bit bohemian, highly used, fairly worn kind of clothing, right? It's often nice and fashionable. It's just got a little bit of the vintage quality to it, and this scarf is so beautiful and in pristine condition that it sometimes looks out of place. But regardless, I wanted to highlight it here as this beautiful image. And then also I wanted to highlight this rattle to start us off. This is a ceremonial rattle that I bought, and I don't use it very often, but it's a ceremonial rattle that I purchased one day when I went and saw Grandmother Mona Polaka speak. She spoke nearby where I live several years ago on my birthday, and it felt like a very meaningful, fated day. I brought offerings, and there was a encouragement for us to bring offerings for an altar while we got to listen to her speak her kind of some truths and some wisdom. And I believe, if I remember right, she's a social worker for one, which made me feel a little bit of kinship for her in that way. She's one of the original Council of the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, and I believe she's Havasupai. I can't remember now, but she's one of those Pueblo Nation groups, and she's one of the 13 grandmothers. So it was really a wonderful opportunity to get to hear her speak, and she had these little rattles with her for us if we wanted to purchase one, and I purchased this one. So I just thought that I would use the rattle to open the scrying session and then scry into these ink blots and show you the ink blots. They don't feel as something that needs to be hidden like the Obsidian Mirror. I don't really feel like I should be showing that to another black mirror while I'm scrying. I just don't feel like that's wise. But with these, I don't quite feel that level. So I just thought I would bring this little ceremonial rattle here, and I'll just thank you for being here, and thank you for being in this space. I figured I would show this scrying session to us as a nice little change of pace and gift. And I'm thanking you for being here and for lending energy to this session. And I thank you for whatever vision comes through here. So I'm seeing sort of a mirroring happening here with these doves, and in this central card here, some doves as well. Almost like hummingbirds or butterflies drinking nectar of these hanging flowers. Flight is indicated here, much like on the image. And then there's this kind of central flying bird here at the center of this image, right where the heart rests in the Hermes scarf. So it's a beautiful mirroring effect happening. I see sort of this cascading effect here with this ink that reminds me sort of a waterfall, but more like a little tiny stream, not large, massive falls. But that's also kind of showing me the lungs, like water and oxygen and the lungs of the planet and the web of life being kind of shown here in this rainbow sort of technicolor version. Normally the obsidian mirror is not a very colorful gaze. There's usually maybe one color that shines through, and here I'm kind of seeing this technicolor in this central blot surrounded by the black and white relief or negative image on either side. This is really being highlighted, this beautiful colorful oxygen and breath of the planet, and these nectar, liquid, water. There's like a lot of the rain just kind of started outside too, like falling rain, falling raindrops. I'm hearing a lot of just harmony, the beautiful hum that you can experience when you go outside. All of a sudden I'm just remembering I was very fortunate to go to Costa Rica in my life about 8 years ago now. And being deep in the jungle that's undisturbed by people, where there hasn't been a lot of interference. Like where I live, there's a lot of woods and activity of the wilds, but it's very impacted by the human imprint. And at this place in Costa Rica, deep in this jungle, that wasn't the case. And you would get treated to this symphony every evening at the same time of all of the crickets singing and all of the different insects of the jungle singing at the same time in this kind of deafening but beautiful symphony. And that's sort of like the soundtrack that's coming through this. In fact, I even remember when the person I was with, when I was getting to experience hearing that every night, speaking to me through it, and I sort of rudely was like, shush, like I shushed them, because I thought this is the one time I get to hear this uninterrupted natural symphony of sound, and why cover it with human speaking? It's wrong. It's out of place here. Something about that seems to be happening. Human interference doesn't need to be occurring in ways that it often has interfered. Like here's sort of these skulls now of these birds showing me this death impact or this death imprint to some degree. I mean, we're part of nature, but we've gotten, we're obviously in some ways out of harmony with it. We don't live deep in a jungle anymore. We don't live as hunter-gatherers. We live in this sort of abstract existence that's a reflection of it, almost like as above, so below, except for it's in a parallel plane. It's not above and below. It's like living outside the hologram versus inside, or outside the matrix versus inside, something to do with that, like this mirroring and the way that illusion can take place with mirroring in positive or negative ways. So let me see what else here is coming through. There's a little bit of that feeling of insect here with these little tendrils that kind of look like insect legs. Like when I can't remember what they are, but this is looking all of a sudden like not surprising really, but one of those little cross animals. They're like a hummingbird and bee combination. I can't think what they're called now, but this is what this is looking like a little bit. I have a lot of these where I live. There's a lot of pollinators where I live. There's healthy insect populations where I live, which used to be everywhere where I grew up, but now it's unique almost. It's noticeable. When you come to where I live, all of the insect activity is noticeable. And it used to be like that everywhere where I live. Now it's harder to spot in urban areas. There's something about coal here, coal dust, coal smoke. I live on a rail line, and there was for a time a push for the ports where I live to allow coal exporting to China, and people were fighting back. Coal is reflective of this kind of what we're describing. Coal is a natural part of the earth, but utilized the way that we've been utilizing it turned out to be harming the earth, right? Like extraction methods. Gone out of balance. Here's this rain above my head that the microphone might be picking up. I'm seeing two people coming together here face to face. They're in some type of ceremonial adornment, like regalia. It might even be considered jinn. These are jinn coming out of these lamps here is what it looks like. And some cobwebs or spider webs up here I'm noticing as well. Smoke. Illusion a little bit. There's a little bit of an illusory quality here, but tangible. It's not like you can't see it. These are two jinn coming out of two lamps. That's visible. You can see that. Portals. These are portals here. These jinn are shape-shifting. I can see different faces in these jinn. The jinn came out in several scrying sessions in the Obsidian Mirror further back as kind of tempters in this way. Jinn spirits can be helpful to people or harmful. It depends on their nature. They're also known as deva spirits. My little bird is wanting to speak to this in some way. You might be able to hear him in the background. He's trying to chime in here. Birds are a quality of this layout. Birds are very, I see chicks coming out of an egg here. Brand new, yesterday when I was walking along the lake, I saw lots of goslings that were starting to grow out of their fuzz and get their feathers. They were funny and awkward looking. These little goslings, they were playing, like play fighting and stuff. It was very adorable. This is what this was reminding me of, these hatched goslings. Birds. Canadian geese. I saw a lot of Canadian geese yesterday along the banks of the lake. That sort of black and white stark contrast of their feathers is showing up or emerging to me here. Not that they're spotted, but now that's leading me into like the spotted towhee, which is a bird that I have a special relationship with. I hear their song right outside my window all day, every day. They're very beautiful little birds. They're very inquisitive and curious and like to be hidden in hedgerows. Downy woodpecker is coming through also with this beak. And they have black and white feathers, wings, so do towhees. And these Canadian geese, these bees, and this is very earth-based. This is a very earth-based lunar phase, apparently, for some reason, or at least the way that I've laid this out. And I wanted to honor the birds here, so it's nice that they're showing up in greater degree in this site. They're truly representative of the air element here, which is why maybe these lungs are coming through. Coal was coming through. What else? Anything else? This card has been coming up a lot lately, so there might be some sort of pattern recognition or repetition coming through. Pattern Recognition is a book by William Gibson that just came through for somebody. You might like him as an author. He writes about postmodern themes and the intersection between tech and the human psyche. Some of his work's a little bit cold for me, but I think it's intentionally cold because it's postmodern. It's post, it's like, well, if you like sci-fi, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to spell it out. But this is also showing up like as a W I'm seeing right now, or a sigil possibly. Every time I see this card lately, it's swirling for some reason, so it might just be reflecting the movement of water and going with the flow. The movement of smoke, the movement of water, scrying. I mean, that's part of scrying. It's showing me motion here, like as if I were doing a literal ink scrying into a pool of water, which you can do, and I will probably do at some point for this podcast. Still images, stills, taking stills might be important to you. Capturing moments in time, fluidity, hologram again, that's coming through, or like a parallel existence or parallel timelines, parallel realities, mirroring one another, triangulation. I just got glasses here, wearing glasses. Something might be important about sight for you, or wearing your glasses, or learning to see in this way, like learning to scry. I'm suddenly seeing eyes, 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 eyes. You might be feeling watched or a little bit paranoid, or there might be something to this for you, like you've been thinking about learning to do this kind of sight work, or you might be somebody who values St. Francis of Assisi and Catholicism and a close to nature relationship like St. Francis of Assisi. There's sight here coming through. You might be trying to learn to scry yourself. You might be opening your own third eye. I'm just getting a flood of like, this is a third eye. Air element is a type of vision. Flying high and using feather magic. There's a bunch of stuff coming through here with that for someone. You might be really tapping into some of these abilities yourself for the first time. Okay, I think that's everything here. I'm not really seeing much else. I keep coming to back to these lungs and foxglove blossoms. Fairy, fey, illusion might be coming up here. Sorry, this is some more coming through. Foxglove is in very close relationship to the fairy spirits, and foxglove is in bloom right now where I live. I just took a selfie with me and some foxglove. Maybe I'll post that. Foxglove might have some kind of meaning for you. And the nectar of the foxglove. Foxglove is also heart medicine. You might benefit from taking some heart medicine. It's no surprise all of a sudden that foxglove is coming through with this heart. I have a foxglove tattoo right here. Foxglove is going to have meaning for you for some reason. Foxglove is a poison plant, so it can harm your heart as well as heal it. So you have to know how to properly work with foxglove. I think Joyce Nedishin says it really well when she says that foxglove is not for the weak-minded. You have to be prepared for what foxglove reveals to you. If you're going to be working with it with your heart center, you need to be prepared to see what's shown to you. It doesn't mince words, and it sometimes can make you feel like you're being shown things you weren't ready to see. So that might have some meaning here for you as well. Learning your relationship to the plant world, to roses, to pollination. Well, yeah, pollination, colonization, that's weird. That might have some type of meaning for you. Invasive plants versus native plants. I'm not someone who hates invasive plants because I love plants. And so they're out of balance where I live, and I'm trying to bring them back into a balance, but that might have meaning for you also. Okay, so now I think that really is there. I hope you appreciate this. I'm feeling compelled to shake this again to close this reading. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing these messages. Thank you to my little bird who lended his throat chakra to this work. That's little Stevie. Thank you to whatever spirits wanted to come through here. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in the next one.